grandpa Frank Wallent. Here's the first question. What country did our ancestors come from?
The ancestors on my side came from Lithuania, and Lithuania is a small country bordered by the Baltic Sea. And as a side note, Lithuania in Lithuanian is Lietuva.
Okay. Next question. What year did our ancestors immigrate here?
1930. That would have been for my father as well as my mother.
Okay. Next question. What was our ancestors' country like?
Well, that's a good question because it is really a variety of countrysides. It had a lot of farms, little villages, but it also had some larger cities, and one of them happened to be Vilnius, and Vilnius happens to be the capital of Lithuania. But it's not very unlike the smaller hamlets and towns of western Massachusetts as well as northern New Hampshire.
Okay. Next question. Was it similar or different from where we live now?
Again, it's it has its similarities depending upon where you live. You live in a neighborhood that has houses relatively close by. In Lithuania, they generally had more farms, so the houses were a little bit further apart. But they, just like in the U.S., Lithuania has its towns and it has its larger centers, like Vilnius and Krakus, Lithuania, and so on.
Okay. Do we still have family members that live in that country?
Yes, we do. I have, particularly on my mother's side, I have a lot of relatives that still live in the country. On my father's side, I'm not quite sure because I think they live in further outskirts and there was less communication with them over the years.
Have you ever visited the country of our ancestors?
Yes, in 2005, we visited my wife, your grandmother, myself, and 3 of my 4 kids, including your son Gregory, visited Lithuania in 2005.
Why did our ancestors move here to America?
Well, there's probably a variety of things. One, there was a thought of a greater opportunity in the United States, and then there were issues that are fairly complicated between the 2 world wars and the political situation of Poland annexing Lithuania, as well as the potential of World War II, albeit that was a lot further upstream.
Did they still travel? Did they travel by ship or by airplane?
It was definitely by ship. If I recall correctly, I don't think they had transatlantic air flights as we know them today at that time in 1930.
What city or state did they come to when they first landed to America?
Ironically, you live in Massachusetts, so they came and lived in Massachusetts, albeit it's not in Foxborough, it's in Brockton, Mass., which is probably 30 miles from here.
Do you know what they did for work when they first landed here?
Yes, they were predominantly shoe workers, as well as making cloth in the textile mills. Remember, the Northeast has a lot of water power, so that's how they generated the electricity to run the mills.
Does our family have any artifacts from our ancestors?
Yes, I don't have many here today, although some of the artifacts would be like jewelry. I do have letters and various pictures, and some of the jewelry includes pieces of amber, which Lithuania is known for their amber, which is petrified pine pitch. And I think you may have some Christmas presents, like with earrings and stuff like that, that has some amber in it.
What special traditions have been passed down from generation to generation?
Well, one of the things is a peragus, and that is a sweetbread, and that has been passed down from my mother to your grandmother. And we predominantly have the sweetbread around the Easter time frame, and that's where we are approaching Easter now. So maybe she'll bake you some.
What is your favorite family tradition?
Well, it's kind of an odd one. It's a Easter egg fight, and that's where hard-boiled eggs are the hard-boiled Easter eggs are dyed with onion skins, and they come out to be kind of a reddish, brownish color. And they take the Easter eggs, and you've done it before, but you may have forgotten it, where one person holds an egg, and the other person has another egg and tries to hit one egg on top of the other. And the egg that is not cracked wins. So if you crack my egg, I'm out of the tournament, if you will, or out of the game, and you go after someone else that has an egg that has not been broken. So if you break that egg, you go on to the next person. If that person breaks your egg, then you're out of the game. And they really actually have tournaments to doing that.
Do you possibly know of any of our ancestors' names?
Yes, I do know of them, particularly on my mother's side. Those are the family that we visited in Lithuania. And her mother, her sister's name was Veronica, but she has passed. And her son his name is Stasys Plokštys, and he has a wife who's named Soche. And one of her, and they have two boys. I'm very familiar with one of them, and one of them, Darius, and his wife Raminthus, has three children. One's name is Gabia, the second one is Lamuta, and the third one is Simonas.
Do you speak any Lithuanian?
Yes, I can speak Lithuanian, albeit it's not fluent. I would call it conversational, where I probably break every grammatical rule there is. So from a public speaking standpoint, it's not very good, but I can communicate with my relatives in Lithuania and even some people around here. I remember when I worked in a grocery store when I was a young kid, there would periodically be some Lithuanian people who did not speak English very well, but I was able to communicate with them so that they could purchase what they wanted when they wanted it and things of that nature. Now, I might add that there is do you realize that your name is Wallent? It's spelled Wallent. But our name, my name, was Wallent Tukevich. Can you say Wallent Tukevich?
Wallent Tukevich.
Say that again. You are very close.
Wallent Tukevich.
That's right. And that. When I was born, my name was Frank John Wallent Tukevich. But because of the people who emigrated into the United States in the 1930s and the 1940s, they wanted to assimilate into the American culture. So they shortened their names, and as a result, my name was shortened, my parents' name was shortened in 1949 to your current last name of Wallent. So they wanted to be assimilated into the more Americanized so they could get jobs easier, as well as allowing people to communicate with them better than. It's a lot easier saying Wallent than it is saying Wallent Tukevich.
Anything else you would like to say?
No, I think you covered a number of topics, and I really enjoyed talking with you. And maybe after this interview is over, I can show you some photographs and things of that nature. Albeit, you mentioned something about artifacts, and you have we talked about jewelry and so on, and I happen to have a Lithuanian tie, which young men would wear, and perhaps your son, not your son, but your brother Riley would wear that at a special occasion.
Now, do you happen to know how to say bye in Lithuanian?
Well, it's not a traditional bye. It's also a greeting as well as a departure, and that is said as labas, and it's spelled Labas. And you want to say labas, and we can end this interview.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And these are some of the artifacts. This is a letter. Here's another one. Here's another.
Now, if
That
we
was
if,
more.
let me just where are we? This is a Christmas card. Linshmu Variaku. Or not, that's not a Christmas card, it's an Easter card. And we were talking about some relatives, and I described the family. And these are Jonas Plokstis and his 3 grandchildren, Gabia, Lamuta, and Simonas. And this is that same family with the addition of Darius and Raminta and the other son, Richard, and his wife, and I think his wife's name is Ashra. Hold it up. Okay, now I don't want to bore you with many more pictures, but we do have a variety of additional pictures, and we can do that at another time.
Okay.
Pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure talking.